Hey YouTube, Venom Samurai back again. Wow, it's been a little while since I've seen you guys. Just to let you know, today we're going to be talking about the epicness that is Marvel's Captain America Civil War. As many of you know, this is based off of the popular Civil War storyline from Marvel Comics, where you had basically Team Iron Man versus Team Cap. Just to recap, no pun intended there. Team Cap, Captain America, is basically saying that there is a regulation being introduced in the movie by the United Nations. Originally it was by the U.S. government in the storyline, but the United Nations, because we're not members of the U.S. anymore, we're members of the world. It's bullshit, I know, but it's something that's worked its way into every fucking form of media. But I digress. The UN has introduced a resolution that would basically put the Avengers under the UN's control. This is kind of like what they're trying to do with all the militaries around the world right now. They're trying to get them under UN control so that the UN can decide who goes where. And that's essentially what the UN's trying to do here. Because the Avengers have caused so much collateral damage, killed so many innocent people in their fights, they want to kind of rein them in and have them be under government control. Yeah, because that never backfires in any way. But basically, the Avengers are split down the middle. You have Captain America, who Steve Rogers is basically saying, you know, if we have to make those decisions on our own, it's a lot better for the world if we do that. Because if we have somebody telling us when to go and when not to go, when are we going, what would happen if we needed to go and they told us not to go, or if they told us that we don't need to go and we do need to go. You know, things like that. And, you know, Tony Stark, Iron Man, is basically saying, no, we do need to have these safeguards in place, and we need to have this and we need to have that so that we can provide the safety that we're supposed to be providing to people. And this essentially splits the Avengers down the middle. On Cap's side, you have Captain America, Falcon, the Scarlet Witch, and they threw in Hawkeye and Ant-Man. Now, they also threw in the Winter Soldier. Now, this is a key point, because he is the main reason why the conflict between the Avengers happens. You know, the Winter Soldier, Bucky Barnes, has been on the run the whole time in the movies thus far, and Cap has been looking for him ever since Captain America Winter Soldier. So, we know where he is. Okay? Now, on Iron Man's side, we have Iron Man, War Machine, Black Widow. Spider-Man gets thrown into this, and so does Black Panther and Vision. Now, they introduced Black Panther and Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe in these movies. They do not exist outside of these movies thus far. So we're going to be getting another Spider-Man movie. We're going to be getting a Black Panther movie. We still have yet to get a Black Widow movie, people. We need to get a Black Widow movie. If anything, just to be fair. I mean, Black Panther was just introduced. He's going to get his own movie. And yet, Black Widow's been in how many movies thus far? Let's see. There was Iron Man 2. Avengers, Age of Ultron, Captain America, both Captain America movies. I mean, she's been in almost 5 to 6 movies thus far, Marvel. Take the hint, make her own movie, for God's sakes. Few key things will be happening. You will get to see Ant-Man go more than just ant-sized. He will actually become giant at one point in the movie. I don't want to spoil when it happens, I just will say that it happens. Spidey is played very well by Tom Holland. He kind of nails what I think Tobey Maguire was going for in the first movies, and gets more of the cocky attitude that Andrew Garfield had in the second set of movies. So I think he'll be a good Spider-Man. Black Panther was played very well. I cannot remember the guy's name that played him. I know that's bad of me, but he was played very well. He's actually a key character in the movie. Our villains, I'm going to go ahead and tell you who the villain is so that people don't sit there and, well, who's the villain? I want to know who the villain is. Who's the villain? It is not Crossbones, which we were led to believe in the press releases. It is actually Zemo. It is Baron Zemo. He is not a Baron in this. Now, let me point that out. He is not Baron Zemo in this. He is just Helmut Zemo. For those of you who know anything about Marvel, Zemo is what is essentially... He was to the Avengers what Loki is to Thor. You know, he is their biggest enemy. He's the one who basically who usually is the one to attack the Avengers in the storyline. It took them 3 freaking movies to get to him when it's the Avengers all together. Let's point that out. It took them 3 movies to get to that main bad guy. Just throwing that out there. And he has basically... I know I usually don't like to spoil things for everybody, and I'm going to try not to in this. What I will say is that the whole Civil War thing is a plot by Zemo. I won't explain why it's a plot by Zemo, but he basically set up this whole Civil War scenario. We're going to get to see a lot of action in this movie. I was actually relatively surprised. They basically went back to a more action-oriented story rather than, you know, sitting there trying to insert all of this damn philosophical diatribe that they've been trying to do. And that both works to its advantage and it works to its disadvantage. I liked the more action aspect of it, but I didn't like some of the action scenes. They didn't feel like they were Avengers-y enough, I guess, is the best word I can think of. Of course, they brought back all the main cast members. Only 2 main cast members who didn't get brought back were Thor and Hulk. Christopher Eccleston and Mark Ruffalo basically not in this movie. Thor will be reappearing in Thor Ragnarok, which I believe comes out next year. Hulk, let's pray for another Hulk movie. I'll be honest with Marvel, and I'm just going to throw this out there to you guys too. Marvel really should have gone with a second Hulk movie based off of the first freaking Hulk movie and gotten Edward Norton to play the Hulk again. I'm sorry, I liked Edward Norton in the Hulk. He played Bruce Banner so well. He played that, well, you know, I'm a mild-mannered scientist a lot better than Mark Ruffalo. Mark Ruffalo plays the... he constantly looks like he's befuddled. You know? I like Mark Ruffalo, don't get me wrong. He plays a good Banner. But he's not my Banner. He is not the guy that I shoot for as Bruce Banner. And they even brought back, in this movie, they brought back the guy who played Thunderbolt Ross. He is now the Secretary of State. Process that for a second. General Thaddeus T. Thunderbolt Ross is the Secretary of State in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This guy is the one who hunted the Hulk because he wanted a freaking weapon. And now he's trying to tell the Avengers what to do. What the hell happened? Like I said, visually the movie looks okay. I don't want to say that it's great, because there are certain things that could have been improved. First off, with Spidey, I like his outfit, but I think it looks too fake. Just saying that, his outfit looks too fake. Give Sony's original depiction of Spider-Man this much credit. It felt like his suit was realer. It felt like, oh yeah, this guy could have sewn together this from leather or something like that to fly around in. And if we're going according to, oh well, you know, they just were going off of what would appeal to the audience, that's fine. I mean, we knew that it was Spidey, but I just honestly, I liked the original look of Spider-Man and the original Spider-Man movies more so than I did in this movie. He is still Spider-Man. I mean, he has the smart mouth. He throws out quips all throughout the movie. There's a lot of comedy in this movie. I want to point that out. It's subtle comedy, but it's comedy. The best stuff happens between Winter Soldier and Falcon. I mean, for God's sakes, there's a scene in the movie where Cap, in an effort to drive a nondescript vehicle, picks out a damn Volkswagen Bug and has Falcon and Winter Soldier crammed into this little thing, with Winter Soldier sitting in the back and Falcon sitting in the front. And one of the funniest scenes in the movie is Falcon sitting up there, Winter Soldier behind him, and he goes, "Can you move your seat up? It's not a lot of room back here." The whole audience just howled at that point. I mean, there were a lot of funny moments. Few things that people will probably notice right off the bat is that everybody just kind of accepted this a little too easily in the story. I mean, like, you know, half the Avengers basically just accepted, oh yeah, we're gonna go and sign this treaty that basically makes us an arm of the UN Security Council. And the other half are going, no, we're not going to sign that treaty even though it could possibly save lives, because we know what's best for our team. You know, that they just kind of went to the story a little too quick, in my opinion. I would have done a little bit more of a slow burn on that. To be honest, I think they should have done a lead up to this movie as opposed to doing the lead up in this movie. I think there should have been another Captain America or another a Black Widow movie could have led up to this, you know, because we find out that the guy from Captain America Winter Soldier, the guy who was his buddy at that time. He was his buddy, but he turned out to be a Hydra agent. You know, the guy who is now Crossbones. He suddenly becomes Crossbones. We don't know why. He just is. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that's happening in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that we as the public are not seeing. And I understand they can't make a movie for every little thing. But I mean, you know, have like Marvel, you're venturing into TV series now on Netflix. For God's sakes, explain some of this shit in those if you need. I mean, you've already established that it's in the same freaking universe as the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Tie them together, Marvel. Tie them together. Also, I want to see some of the guys from the TV series show up in the movies, or somebody from the movies to show up in the TV series. They've done something kind of like that on 1 or 2 episodes of Daredevil, but really they're just kind of keeping them separate. And I don't think that they should. I mean, you got Luke Cage, Jessica Jones, Daredevil, Punisher, Elektra. You're going to have Iron Fist, the Defenders, basically, coming out and all joining forces in the series on Netflix. I would have them show up, even as just a cameo, just as a quick cameo in the movies, just to say, okay, well, this is going to be here, this is going to be here, this is what's going on while the movie's off, this is what's going on while the movie's off. Make the series cover what's happening in between the movies, because you guys are putting way too many time skips into your movies, and it's getting really hard to keep track. Like, they actually mentioned that Scott Lang, Ant-Man, has only been turned giant once before, and that was in a lab, and he passed out afterward. We didn't get to see that. We don't know nothing about that. They haven't done Ant-Man 2. So, we're kind of canaries in the coal mine on this. All in all, Captain America Civil War was not a bad movie. It was kind of a meh movie. It wasn't the greatest thing ever. Because we kind of got that taken away from us when we saw the Avengers. Now, I will give Marvel this much credit. They are giving a little bit more conflict in this movie. We learn a lot of secrets that have not been revealed throughout the story. But at the same time, they weren't necessarily secrets that we wanted to know. Like, we learned the story behind Tony Stark's parents' death. Did we need to know that? No, we just needed to know that his dad was dead. We know that that's not what inspired him to be Iron Man. He inspired himself to be Iron Man. To be honest, if I was going to go with something with Tony Stark, I would have gone with his drunken hell. His fight with alcoholism. That, to me, would have been a better reason for him to fight Captain America and Winter Soldier and all these other guys. That, to me, would have been a better reason, because then he can just go on a drunken rampage. Kind of like he did in the first Iron Man movie. Or actually, no, excuse me, in the second Iron Man movie. I'm getting my movies mixed up again. So, final rating. This one's kind of hard to pick, so I'm going to say at least a 3 out of 5. 3 out of 5, because it's good, it's not horrible, it's not unwatchable, it's actually very enjoyable. But there's just something that doesn't give it that punch that it needs to really be a 4 out of 5 or even a 5 out of 5. So, that is Captain America Civil War. Next movie we will be reviewing will be X-Men Apocalypse. X-Men Apocalypse. Now, few things about that. I know a lot about the X-Men. I don't know everything, but I know a lot, because I grew up with the X-Men. However, unlike most people, I did not grow up with the X-Men comics. I grew up with the X-Men cartoon series. The multiple cartoon series. I've owned at least 2 of the biggest ones. I have seen pretty much all of them. I know a lot of the major storylines. I don't know them all. So if you know something in the next X-Men, in the X-Men Apocalypse storyline that I'll cover, the review, by all means leave that in your comments on that video. If you like this video, like and subscribe down at the bottom. We are going to take a little bit of a hiatus. I know I took a hiatus before, but we're going to take another little hiatus until X-Men Apocalypse comes out. I might do a little bit more lighthearted fare a little in between there. I'm pretty sure that X-Men Apocalypse is going to be my next big movie review, but there's going to be a few little pepperings through there. At time of this recording, it is actually a week away from Deadpool on Blu-ray and DVD. I have it on reserve at FYE. I suggest you do the same. Hey, FYE, I gave you a plug. But you know, let's try to get our likes and subscribes up. And until such time as I see you again, this is the Venom Samurai saying, see you later.